Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. It is TWAB Day. Snowy Night Owl here, as you expected. And with me is Galvexo and Pilch. And we're going to go through the TWAB this week, just kind of give you guys a brief summary of what we're seeing, what we're thinking. With it being still, 2 weeks until the Bungie showcase? Obviously, this is slightly cut down, but SANDBOX updates, which means that cut down still means it's goddamn massive. So... yeah, it's going to be good times. I'm going to steal their first question. What's your first exotic for Arc 3.0? What are we feeling? What are we thinking?
I would love to see like Raiden Flux or Raiju's Harness. Like I want to use either one of those on Hunter, and I hope that Pole Dancer is good.
Okay. All right.
I'm just hoping they make Arc useful for Hunter, honestly.
I would be okay with that. I'm kind of leaning towards Shinobu's first. My decision making is obviously going to be heavily influenced by if there are exotic updates, like if there's changes, because like Lorelei's got a minor change with Solar that made it not better but just more cohesive. You know what I mean? And so particularly with Arc. Hunter and how bad it is right now. Not I guess not
great.
Bad. It's just it's not what it could be, honestly.
Yeah.
It
makes me sad.
And so that's kind of where we're at. I like ARM exotics by and large. I like having my exotic in the ARM slot as much for cosmetic reasons as anything else. And Shinobu's is a good looking exotic, so I'm kind of hoping it's good. So I know if I do go back to playing Titan, if Arc Hunter is disappointing and I do decide that I want to go back to Titan, I'm just not ever taking Cuirass the Falling Star off.
Yeah, mine depends on what character I'm playing. If I'm playing Titan, it's probably going to be Cuirass. If I'm playing Morlock, it's honestly probably going to be Crown.
Yep.
Crown of Tempest.
Yeah.
Hunter, I really don't know. If they make it useful, I'm going to have to play with it a little bit.
Well, because like Blight Ranger has some potential depending on what they do with the Arc Staff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Crown of Tempest is going to be pretty cool. Arc ability kills store abilities. I mean, hey, that should be pretty fun. Hopefully, there's some like grenade recharge and stuff like that going on.
It's gonna be like the fusion grenade build, but for Arc almost.
Oh, yeah. Another slept on one that I just read because I'm on Destiny now is Storm Dancer's Brace.
Storm Dancer. Okay, I gotta go read this.
Each target you defeat with Storm Trance increases the damage you deal with it and refunds super energy when Storm Trance ends.
What slot is that? Is that?
It's a chest piece.
Oh, I thought it was arms.
Storm. Oh yeah, Storm Dancer's chest. Each target you defeat with Storm Trance increases the damage deal. Oh yeah, so it just makes it. It reminds me of. It's almost like a Phoenix Protocol.
Yeah. Kinda.
It's like a Phoenix Protocol
for Palpatine hands.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay. All right. I feel like as much as this season, Solar 3.0 has felt like the season of the Titan. It honestly has. Like between fucking Barricade bullshit and Lorelei bullshit and Kepri's bullshit and Hammer bullshit and Worm God bullshit and all of that bullshit, it really has felt like the season of the Titan.
And when the new season comes out, Titans are still going to be unkillable because none of them use classy.
Well, and that's just it, is the Titan things don't change. However,
you don't have to build around it.
But even then, like Warlock, of the 3 Arc subclasses, Warlock Arc already feels strong as it is. And so if Arc just improves that, if Arc 3.0 just improves Warlocks, I think it's going to be the season of the Warlock. And I think we're going to see a real push and pull between Warlocks and Titans, unless Bungie does something truly ridiculous with Hunters. If really
they make Arc Hunters fun, then that's gonna.
But even then, I don't think it's a bad thing if Arc 3.0 is the season of the Warlock, because Void was very much the season of the Hunter, very much so. Like particularly when we had the Volatile Rounds mod in the Artifact.
You think they do that on purpose? You think they make one class more like better than others?
I don't know that they do it on purpose. I think they're cognizant of it. I think they're aware of it when they're building the artifacts. And I think they understood that the things that we had in the Void Season artifact were going to make Void Hunter, which is already pretty good as a baseline, just that much better, right? And it made the other Void classes good, but Void Hunter was just better with those mods. Void Warlock, now that those mods are gone, feels a little bit better than Void Hunter, but it's also different applications of Void, right? And Void Titan obviously has its uses. Like we're seeing the Captain America Shield Bash build that's one-shotting bosses and strikes and this kind of shit. So
oh shit,
there's a lot of tinkering to be done with this stuff.
Bonk build.
Well, it's literally just bonk build 3.0. Like we went from hammer bonk build to solar shoulder charge bonk build to
It's a 1-2 punch Void.
yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. Good.
I want to ask a question for both of you guys here. Is what exactly is like? What do you think is something that you'll need for Arc to be good? Like, what's something that you're just like thinking about in your head? You're just like, I need that to happen, or else Arc is just gonna suck.
As someone who wants to be a hunter main, I'll jump into this one first. This is very nebulous. I'm not a game designer. I make no pretensions to be a game designer. But my very nebulous thing is that I need Arc Hunter to feel like a hunter, because right now it doesn't. It just feels like Titan Light. And that's my issue with the Arc staff, is that
they need to give it its own individuality.
Well, and that's just it. Is it takes the hunter class that's very much like hunters, like scout rifles and hand cannons and sniper rifles and linear fusions, and we like sort of rocket launchers and being far away. We're out of the action. You know, we pop out of void stealth, we kill you. We pop back into void stealth, and you're very mad that we came from nowhere and just murdered you and poof. The Arc subclasses very much sort of take that, and they're like, hi, you like sniping. I need you to go smack this thing in the face. Have fun. Yeah. And I'm like, So if we see that change, I will be very happy. If we see Hunter get pointed more towards take Blight Ranger for an example, because Blight Ranger, I think, is an effort to push the Whirlwind staff in a direction that feels good for Hunters, because then it's about countering things, like using the Whirlwind staff with Blight Ranger to redirect a Nova bomb and one-shot the entire enemy team. I saw a video of that. That's cool. That's a very Hunter thing to do. And so the Arc staff, I think, needs to be sort of pointed away from smack thing in face with pointy stick to feeling like a Hunter, you know? Give me a spear. Give me the spear from last season as an Arc super. Give me something more like Blight Ranger. Like, even if you just integrate Blight Ranger's effect into the Whirlwind staff and make Blight Ranger something else that makes it better. Those sorts of things, I think, will point Arc Hunter in a direction that I'm very happy with.
My thing is, I need Arc to feel like different from the other two. Like, so say for Titan, I feel like Void for Titan is like, I don't know, the most utility wise. Like Solar is survivability. I need Arc to be like my damage spec, and maybe like mobility. I don't know. I'm not sure if they're going to go in that direction.
Well, they do. Like, we did hear that they want Arc to be more mobility focused, because they talked about that as the Synaptic Spear being sort of a testing bed for their ideas around Arc. And the whole point of the Synaptic Spear was like a flying double jump and massively increased movement speed and all this kind of stuff.
Which is fine, but I need it to actually be damage for Titan. Because Titan, you don't do damage in Void. Solar, you can do some damage. Like, I know it's like top of the... I think it's like number 2 or 3 for like top damage supers for some bosses. But it just doesn't feel like it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, the Thunder Crash smack for 250k is pretty...
Well, I need it to feel like I'm doing a lot of damage.
The theme of Arc, I think, is supposed to be speed, right? And so if I look at the Titan Solar supers that do more damage, the amount of time that it takes to do that damage, like the Hammer Throw super can last for what, 15 seconds if you're in sunspots?
Yeah,
and it does 3 times the damage of Thunder Crash, but Thunder Crash takes like a half a second to do its damage. And I think that needs to be the summary of Arc supers. And it's another spot, now that you're saying this, it's another spot I think they missed with Hunter Arc supers, is that Hunter Arc supers feel very much like Titan Solar supers, where like, yeah, maybe it's better for whatever reason, but I am also stuck with this stupid fucking stick for 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's a long ult.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I think Arc, they like, just like Warlock ult, like for Arc, like it's quick. Yeah. Like,
well, I mean, Palpatine hands isn't, but Chaos Reach,
Palpatine
which is...
hands takes forever.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Palpatine Hands also is not intended to be for boss damage. Like, that's clear the room.
No.
And I think a clear the room super isn't a bad thing, right? I kind of categorize Spectral Blades into that. In my opinion, Burning Maul, I think, is more of a room clearing super. I get that it does good boss damage, but I feel like Throwing Hammers is just better. Palpatine Hands, Storm Trance, I think fits into that. And I do kind of agree in general that I think Void feels like the team utility subspec for all three, right? Like, yes, they have their damage potential, but you've got Dome and you've got Tethers, and with Warlocks, you've got the ability to grant your team Devour and all of this kind of stuff. Warlocks being sort of, and I say this with the heaviest of air quotes for a non-cam video, Warlocks being the support class, their solar is, again, very supportive, but I think that's a choice that you have. And I think seeing
You can choose not to be.
You have that choice. You have that option. And I mean, we see that with PvP, with where Warlock Solar is like, I'm going to fly outside the map and I'm going to kill you from an angle that you can't see me. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm excited to see what, because I think hunters should be fast with Arc. I think Arc Hunter should just be about getting from point A to point B faster than anybody realizes you can. I think Titan needs to be about fast damage. I think Titan Arc needs to be burst damage, right? Like if I had to pick the thing about Titan Arc that I think should be the defining thing for the subclass, it should be Thunder Crash. And the whole concept of maybe I do less damage overall, but I'm going to fly at you like a missile and it's going to hurt.
And get rid of that goddamn shoulder charge.
We know you're going to have the option to pick something else, for sure, because that's just the way the 3.0 builds have gone.
Yeah.
So for me, there's two things that there's one thing I want and one thing that I think would be really good. I know one of them's going to ruin an exotic. Mm-hmm. I feel like Mask of Bakris could be a good perk or like a trait. Yeah. Or
an additional dodge,
or not the additional dodge, but the blink dodge.
Oh, okay,
like where you just go and then you blink to the. I feel like that fits an Arc vibe. An Arc vibe. I don't know what they would do with Mask of Bakris in the meantime, but that's like something I thought about like way back in the day for Arc, for like a rework. And then the fact that they brought it with Mask of Bakris, I feel like it just takes up an exotic slot that could be taken up by Stompies, and you could put that as a trait, and then you could kind of have like a lot of stuff going on with Arc. And then also my second thing that I think Arc will suck if this doesn't happen. I think that the spinning, like the reflect, needs to be maybe nerfed a little bit, but needs to be intrinsic into the staff. Like just as it
needs to be part
staff,
of it.
It's just a part of the staff,
like a sword.
Yeah, like sword you can block. They're just intrinsically, it's just part of it. Like I feel like spinning and deflecting, even if you can't deflect supers and that's like an aspect, maybe an aspect will, or like a
or even if that's what Blight Ranger lets you do, like you can deflect stronger super items or something like that.
Or you can reflect more, or you can reflect, or whenever you reflect something, it does triple damage or something like that. Like.
Or even if you can't reflect it, but like if you have your shield up, like it doesn't kill you.
Yeah, it doesn't kill you.
Yeah, massive damage reduction for things that hit. You know, the other exotic though that I think they need to ruin for the staff, and one of the reasons I'm hoping Arc was last is that they're doing stuff like this, is Raiju's Harness. I think Raiju's Harness needs to be intrinsic.
Exotic.
It looks so cool, so I wish it would just be good. Like I want it to be good.
Yep.
They need to completely revamp it.
There's two directions that they can go with this, right? They can make it so that Blight Ranger gives you the ability to reflect stronger projectiles, and Raiju's Harness becomes intrinsic, right? And then Raiju's gets some other effect. And then again, I'm not a designer. I don't pretend to be able to figure this stuff out. Or Blight Ranger needs to be intrinsic, which makes Raiju's Harness extremely strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with those changes.
So that's kind of where I'm at. Now, this video is going to be long as all hell.
So let's go, dude. Let's get into it.
Let's get into the sandbox.
We've just been ranting.
But I mean, we're getting close enough to Arc 3.0 release that I think talking about it's not a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
But I'm also like, I feel like I have to sort of herd the cats here a little bit. Mm-hmm. Okay, so sandbox changes. Mercules talking about balance changes, moved balance changes from season 18 to the mid-season of 17, so lighter weapons sandbox TWAB than usual. Yay. 2 TLDR buffed some underutilized weapon archetypes, scout rifles, and heavy grenade launchers in PvE. Ooh. High impact auto rifles. And lightweight bows. We'll see. I'm tentatively excited for high impact auto rifles.
I feel like auto rifles is still gonna be garbage, but
Probably.
Yeah, let's just see.
Buffed multiple perks, fixed some bug perks, updated some perk descriptions to be more accurate. Ooh. Buffed multiple exotic weapons and added intrinsic anti-champion functionality to some. Round of applause for that decision.
I'm excited.
Holly fucking Luya.
Good take.
Reworked a
That's
couple
not
of
just
exotic
Arby.
weapons whose functionality was causing issues, and updated the perk pools for Dares of Eternity weapons and gave them a new origin trait.
oh, that's
What?
fun.
Fixed an issue introduced in the 30th anniversary update that caused too much heavy ammo to drop when running double special weapons. Poor Hedgie. Several weapon stats were previously hidden, which made fully evaluating weapons difficult. Airborne effectiveness, recoil direction, zoom, and aim assist are now visible in the weapon inspection screen. RIP
nice.
Destiny 2 Gunsmith. I kid, but. Okay, weapon archetypes. So scout rifles. Felt they could still use a bit of love in PvE. Increased damage of all scout rifles versus red bars in PvE by 10%. This is in addition to the baseline damage buff given in the Solstice Balance patch. I like that.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah.
He's gonna be taken into GMs again.
I mean, I still take DMT into GMs. It's gonna make me feel even better about that. So Holly fucking a Vorpal DMT. Oh, mama. High impact auto rifles. This subfamily of auto rifles has good damage output, but low ease of use, leading them to underperform compared to other options in the same engagement ranges. This is what I've been saying. Increased base stability stat of all non-sunset high-impact auto rifles by 6 to 12, depending on the weapon. Numerically, this may seem like a small change, but it noticeably changes the feel of the weapons. So, okay, hang on. I gotta look.
It doubles it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull my DIM out, as I have a Herod C that I have been sitting on because it's got stats for all frenzy, which just is a absolutely glorious roll. And because it's one of the few Gambit weapons that actually has a secondary origin perk, which makes it feel real good. So the stability on it is 27, and Herod is a pretty good feeling auto rifle. Like mine has arrowhead and high caliber rounds. So if they're giving it, even on the low end, if they're buffing the stability by 6, that takes it from 27 to 33. And I can see how that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
So I look forward to testing this one out. I think it's going to be good. And I'm hoping we don't have overload auto SMG again next season, because I'm going to scream if that's still a thing. Like give me anti-barrier auto rifles. Honestly, like please.
That
I'm
was
begging.
that was 2 seasons ago, right? Or one.
Well, it
It's
was
been a
at
while.
least 2 seasons ago. Like last season and this season, SMGs and auto rifles were overload. Both seasons. And I'm like, it's just boring. Like, make me change it up. So, I don't know. Lightweight bows, not a bow user, but this could be interesting. This subfamily has languished compared to their higher damage counterparts for some time, in part due to difficulty hitting perfect draw shots. So we've made that a bit easier. Reduced base draw time from 5%, so went from 612 to 580 milliseconds. Increased the perfect draw window, which is how long you can hold the bow drawn before you lose accuracy and damage, and stability modifies the window. So on the low end, it's 0.3 to 0.5. On the high end, it went from 0.5 to 0.8. So almost a full second on a high stability lightweight bow before you lose accuracy on a full draw. That's nice.
That's a big deal.
That'll be
a
good.
deal.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of good examples of lightweight bows that this will affect, and I'm trying to.
I don't use
think.
bows enough.
No, I don't either.
I
I'm
think
wondering.
This is going to be more important if they become like an anti-barrier, or if they have a champion mod like they did a couple seasons ago.
Well, I
Whatever, had
think
to use both for everything.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see.
Isn't Dread Eagle a lightweight?
Trinity Ghoul?
No.
No,
Dread
lightweights.
Eagle's heavy.
Yeah, lightweights are. Oh, God,
Like
I
the
don't even know that.
Lunata B or the
Well, so
Like Monarch
good
is
examples:
heavy. I think
Imperial
Trinity
Needle,
is Impact.
Imperial Needle, Tyranny of Heaven, Arsenic Bite 4B, Lunalata, Fell Terradiddle from the Wellspring, Precision, Whispering Slab, There's a lot of lightweight bows, actually.
Huh.
So it'll be interesting to see some of those come out, the non-sunset ones. It could be fun, I think. I'm trying to think, what's the one that was, isn't it Wolf Tone Draw or something like that? There was one that was, like a playlist reward or something that I thought was reacquirable. Oh, Point of the Stag, which is precision frame. Okay, so I'm wrong on that front, but that's fine. So yeah, that could be good. Hand cannons, Dire Promises Zoom Sat got changed to 13 by accident. It's back to 14. All of you Dire Promise sweats will be happy to hear about that. Glaives, their interactions with some exotic armor pieces can be confusing, so we've explicitly made some changes to align better with our stated goals. Glaive melee attacks can now activate the exotic armor perks on ACD, Zero, Feedback Fence, Karnstein Armlets, and the Necrotic Grip.
Oh.
That's interesting.
The necrotic grip part is
Yeah, that could be very interesting. I'm wondering if maybe we'll see a poison kinetic glaive.
Yeah, that would be cool. Imagine just a kinetic glaive in general, though.
I would love to see a kinetic or stasis glaive. I honestly would, because I think it's a gap that there isn't one in that slot. Breach loading grenade launchers, so lightweight grenades, not wave frames. Concussion grenades can no longer roll in the magazine slot. Blinding grenades are a better option in the same slot that serves the same purpose. So just tightening up the perk pool there. I like that.
Yeah, that's better.
I like this one. Heavy grenade launchers. These don't see a ton of support in PvE, so we hope this makes them feel a bit better as a DPS or yellow bar clearing option. Increase damage versus majors and above by roughly 10%, excluding Parasite, which does not need to do more damage.
I was going to say, are they excluding Parasite from that one?
But that does mean if they're specifically naming Parasite, that things like Anarchy and Prospector and all of them are included in that, which we could see Prospector come back as a DPS meta, right? Like,
I think Anarchy is going to be a huge exotic for
Fun fact, Prospector was my first ever exotic I got from a drop.
Yeah, I suspect we'll see. I don't actually own Anarchy. I might have to start redirecting my spoils towards picking that up. But like Prospector, I can see Prospector being really good.
I see Anarchy being like top of the meta,
which does not
honestly.
need to do more damage.
Yeah, right. It does not need that. Absolutely under no circumstance. Oh god.
The last thing it needs is more damage.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be good. I don't know what the Prospector Catalyst does, but I mean Prospector is Arc, Anarchy is Arc. Who are the other shoot, what's it? The Colony. I wonder if we'll see the Colony show up.
No, it's not Arc, but it's still
I know it's not Arc,
buff.
but it's still going to get that 10% damage buff, yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Anarchy and Prospector for sure. I'm going to be interested to see how they feel with this change. Oh, and then there's Salvation's Grip. That needs the extra damage, right? Right?
Yeah.
Ha
ha. The Catalyst gives more blast radius and deeper pockets, so more ammo reserves.
Wow. Okay. I could see Prospectors actually being Hunter DPS because the Hunters can just ignore the reload problems that it has.
Mm-hmm.
So that may be an interesting option. Because yeah, a 165 RPM full auto arc heavy grenade launcher with 8 rounds in the magazine, like that's some potential burst. I'm excited about that.
Salvation's Grip.
Weapon pools updated the perk pools for Dares of Eternity weapons and added an origin trait, which they don't tell us about. Big mad. Addressed an issue where playlist weapons weren't randomizing individual perk columns perk counts correctly based on number of resets. I think the more times that you reset when you get weapons from claiming the engrams, they have additional perk choices in each column. So that, I think, is probably what that's fixing. It's written a little bit odd. The sentence is kind of hard to interpret, but that's my understanding of how that's written. Perks. Gambit and Iron Banner origin traits were too specific to be generally useful. Oh, so they've both been redesigned. Gambit origin trait Invader Tracker has been renamed Run and Gun, redesigned functionality to give a sprint speed increase on multi-kills.
Oh,
That could be a lot of fun.
especially with the shotgun.
Skulking Wolf, the Iron Banner origin trait. So for those that don't remember, the way the Iron Banner origin trait works is that during a hunt, kills remove you from radar, right?
Yep.
Redesigned now to activate on all kills while at low health, which means it works in all PvP.
That's pretty good.
That turns them into must farm weapons for PvP players, honestly. Because
Ambitious Assassin change?
Ambitious Assassin has fallen behind perks with similar functionality such as Overflow, so we've adjusted it to have a higher potential than before. Oh my fucking god.
Oh.
Increased magazine overflow from 10% to 20% per kill on primary weapons only. Special and heavy are still at 10. Increased overflow cap from 50 to 150, which means an ambitious wave frame now gets 3 rounds in the mag.
Does it though?
With enough kills. So you have to get, if you can get 11 kills on a special or a heavy, you'll get 3 rounds in the mag with ambitious. And so I'm thinking
That's
about
interesting.
forbearance with ambitious chain reaction, because I think the chain reaction kills still count. So,
Yeah.
Wellspring had an internal cooldown to prevent it from activating too frequently. We no longer feel this is needed. Cooldown has been removed, allowing for rocket launchers and grenade launchers to return more ability energy when defeating groups with a single shot. That has a ton of potential in PvP now.
We disable. Oh, okay.
Perpetual motion was triggering frequently enough to be annoying. Disabled audio-visual feedback on perk activation. Minor change, like that. Lead from Gold wasn't respecting the functionality of splitting the special ammo picked up when 2 special weapons were equipped. Now gives the correct amount of ammo to each weapon when 2 special. So that's a nerf. Because it sounds like what it was doing is it was giving the full brick equivalent to both special ammos.
Yeah, it wasn't splitting it.
Right. Concussion grenades can no longer roll on breach grenade launchers. We knew about that. Vice Stinger was intended to grant ammo on weapons that support it and charge draw time on bows only. This was inadvertently applying to linear fusion rifles as well, making it too strong for an origin trait on them. Fixed a bug where it was applying a charge time reduction to linear fusion rifles. It will correctly only refill the magazine from reserves when it triggers on these weapons. So that, which
don't know
linear
which one,
had... I feel like it might actually be... Oh, it's Reed's. Reed's has Vice Stinger as a perk choice.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's Bitter Spite on Storm Chaser. Tarantula doesn't have an origin. Threaded Needle doesn't have it. Corsairs doesn't have it. Obviously, Cataclysmic is Soul Drinker. So yeah, that's a targeted nerf at Reed's for boss DPS. Which I think, honestly, I think that puts Reed's behind the other two. Because it was always just kind of a toss-up between Reed's, Cataclysmic, and Storm Chaser, and I think Reed's falls behind with that change. Zen Moment has always had a description that confused players. Particle Repeater 2. Their descriptions have been updated to say what they actually do. They don't tell us what that's going to say. So, okay.
Thank you,
I'm very
Bungo.
excited for the second one in this list.
Oh, God. Okay, exciting. Exciting. Exotic changes. Let's get into this. Added anti-champion functionality is several weapons with the goal of giving more options for each champion type split across weapon slot and ammo type. We expect to do this from time to time in the future as well. Yay! Le Monarch added intrinsic overload to poison arrows. That's spicy. Thunderlord added intrinsic overload.
Yes! A reason to use Thunderlord. Thunderlord is one of my fucking favorites.
I apparently am going to have to farm malfeasance. Added intrinsic unstoppable to explosions.
What?
Added plus 25 to the base airborne effectiveness stat to match other precision hand cannons intrinsic bonus. Oh, here you go, Pilch. You ready for this? Wish Ender. Added intrinsic anti-barrier. Increased number of hits versus most targets from 2 to 3. More hits against vehicles, still 2 against players. Increased damage versus champions, majors, and mini bosses by 10%. Draw time decreased from 828 to 820 milliseconds.
Like that.
Tick use divination gets a free small buff from the global lightweight bow changes. Draw time decreased to 580. Legend of Acreus has fallen far behind other heavy short-range weapons and warrants a buff. Catalyst now grants the Trench Barrel perk in addition to its other effects. Different versions of the exotic paired legendary weapons didn't have matching stats, so we brought them up to parity. I feel like that was... Oh, so that's Callus versus Mida. They're like matching, and Drang versus Drang.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Sweet Business got a 5-point buff to its airborne effectiveness. Fighting Lion's Season 17 5% damage buff was rolled back as part of a fix for a larger bug. This is being reintroduced and increased, so 8% buff on Fighting Lion. It increased the grace time for the instant reload effect of Thin the Herd from 5 to 6 seconds. So...
Oh, my goodness.
Now that we've been through all of this, Fighting Lion nerds everywhere are crying from happiness. This one right here, I think, is probably... Actually, these 3... I think are probably the spiciest. Like Wish Ender getting anti-barrier is nice. I want to know how many hits it takes to pop.
I also don't think it says increased damage. I still don't think it's going to be as effective.
Well, so the issue is that if I'm putting an exotic kinetic slot on for anti-barrier, why am I bringing Wish Ender instead of Arbalest?
Yeah.
Like this needed to be a buff to Ariana's. 100%. Like Ariana's needs to one-shot barriers. Period. You want to give me choices? Ariana's needs to one-shot
honestly,
barriers.
put Ariana's into like Unstop.
Mhm.
Like make it not anti-barrier, make it effective against Unstop.
Well, the problem
I
is
feel like
is
that's
that
also fair.
anti-barrier synergizes really well with Ariana's perk, which is if you hit a precision shot or a barrier, elemental or otherwise, Ariana's does additional damage until you don't do one of those two things. And it's like a 15-20% damage buff. The issue is that even with that buff, and like Ariana's has auto-loading holster and 9 rounds in the mag with the catalyst, even with that buff, Ariana's does not one-shot barriers, even at like lower difficulties. It's always a 2-shot minimum. And it's 3 if you don't have the buff, if you fuck up. And I think that's wrong. I think it should be 1 with the buff, and I think it should be 2 without. And that's my standing complaint. I don't think adding barrier to Wish Ender fixes the problem of Arbalest dominance, unless Wish Ender one-shots.
Unless it one-shots, because then it's white ammo.
Right. So the issue is, though, is they're not going to make it one-shot, specifically because that makes Arbalest obsolete.
Yep.
Right? Ariana's and Arbalest should do the same thing because they're both green ammo weapons. A white ammo anti-barrier should take 2 shots, and I agree with that. But this is why I don't think adding barrier to Wish Ender fixes the Arbalest problem. Because Arbalest is a problem, straight up. If there's a barrier champ in the run, you want Arbalest. Period. So,
yeah.
This one I'm disappointed with. This could be good. I don't remember what Trench Barrel does. I gotta go look up Trench Barrel.
I think it's when you're in...
Trench Barrel, light.gg. After a successful melee hit, this weapon gains increased damage, handling, and reload speed for a short duration or until 3 shots are fired.
Yeah, I thought it was
So... Bonk build synergy?
melee. Yeah, maybe.
Because the community says that after non-ranged melee damage, it's 50% increased damage and 30 handling for 5 seconds or 3 shots. Because that makes Acurus very strong.
Yeah, but you're not doing the damage with the shotgun. You're doing it with the charge.
But no, because but the bonk build synergy there is that for anything that you can't one-shot, like I'm thinking about Galran, which generally takes 2 melees, but because Acurus has a 2-round magazine, if you're doing 50% more damage on each of those shots, you prep the bonk build, you bonk, and then bang bang Acurus, and bye-bye, boss. Like...
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
So, I think that was one that people are going to tinker with. I think that's going to be a really good change. And then the Fighting Lion... I mean, Sweet Business doesn't need airborne effectiveness. Who the fuck is jumping with Sweet Business?
Everybody.
Yeah. And then Fighting Lion getting an 8% damage buff and increase the grace time for Thin the Herd. That is...
It's gonna just be even better.
Yeah. And like Fighting Lion was never bad. There were just better choices. But Thin the Herd...
I don't know. It's pretty good for room clearing white ammo. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the best.
You know, honestly, I think if they were going to give us another green ammo intrinsic anti-barrier, Fighting Lion would have been a good choice. Because it works like Thin the Herd. Direct hits do more damage to combatant shields. Dealing damage increases reload speed. Rapid final blows against grenade damage combatants refill the magazine. Like, if you were gonna tell me that you were adding another weapon to the anti-barrier pile, it should have been Fighting Lion, and it should have still 1 or 2 shot. Okay, the picture under the rework section makes me happy. I haven't even scrolled down, and just the fact that that weapon is pictured there, that makes me happy. Reworks. This is gonna be good. Literally the picture has me already excited in the first exotic. I might cry out of happiness. Lord of Wolves. Has long been a thorn in the side of PvP players, especially when paired with certain exotic armor pieces. Looking at you, Omni. We've changed the amount of ammo it starts with and reduced the damage dealt to players. This is part 1 of a larger rework aimed at making it a more viable PvE exotic without increasing its effectiveness in PvP. So you start with 10 ammo in PvP. The burst size with Release the Wolves active only fires 5 shots instead of 10. Reduce the burst delay, so the time between bursts with Release the Wolves active by 60%. And decreased base damage by roughly 20%, which now deals 35 per shot to the body in PvP and 44 with Release the Wolves active. Increased PvE damage by 20% to compensate. So 20% less damage in PvP, fires less shots with Release the Wolves, so you can't just like dumpster burst somebody, but you can fire the bursts faster than you used to be able to. I like that. These are good changes, I think. And I'd be interested to see Lord of Wolves get some PvE use. It would be nice to see. DMT, Cranial Spike perk, was causing issues with unintended damage scalers against players and generally felt unpredictable both to use and to fight against. Also wasn't quite landing the hip-firing cowboy rifle fantasy as strong as we wanted to, so we reworked it to lean more into fast-firing hip-fire. So change the Cranial Spike effects. No longer buffs damage versus players, instead it grants increased reload, aim assist, and range per stack. Still grants damage versus PvE. I like that. It's a good change. Upon reaching max stacks of Cranial Spike, the Catalyst will now increase hipfire RPM by 50, so to a 180 RPM, but it will deal reduced damage per bullet with a 20% decrease. That's going to make a 4th times DMT
really good.
Just that much more valuable, because it's going to be fantastic. Collective Obligation, aiming to make the exotic perk effects easier to activate and more effective in PvE. Increase
the Vow exotic.
Yeah, this is the Vow Pulse. So increase the Void Leech timer to 15 seconds in PvE activities. PvP remains at 10. Removed the cooldown. That's nice. Added a 20% damage bonus against PvE combatants only while Void Leech is active. Takes less hits to fully charge Void Leech. Kills against debuff targets instantly charge Void Leech. Void Leech is also instantly charged when your own character is affected by Void debuffs. Does not work hitting yourself with your own suppressor grenade. Like that they pointed that out.
Damn.
Fixed a bug where Umbral Sustenance was activated with non-void overshields. So, okay, I gotta go reread how Leech works, because I want to understand exactly what they've done with
I literally
this.
shot it like twice in Vow after I got it, and I haven't used it since.
Okay, so Umbral Sustenance, the one that they talk about at the bottom. The weapon's magazine is automatically reloaded when you gain Devour, a Void Overshield, or become invisible. So it has to be specifically a Void Overshield. So that means that you can use Gambler's Dodge on Void Hunter with this to become invisible, and it'll reload like a Marksman's Dodge. That actually is not a bad perk. This weapon leeches void debuffs when damaging targets that are suppressed, weakened, or volatile. Once charged, hold reload to swap firing modes. In this mode, damage from this weapon applies the same void debuffs that were leeched. So Void Leech timer means that it holds that for 15 seconds, like it holds the buff.
I think so.
And while Void Leech is active, I assume that means once you've swapped firing modes, it's a 20% damage bonus. Takes less hits to fully charge Void Leech must mean that instead of it needing like 3 bursts to actually steal the buff, it's 1, maybe 2. And getting hit by Void debuffs instantly charges. So that means that you can use Collective Obligation to counterplay against Void. So like Child of the Old Gods suppression or volatility like Void Warlocks, this counterplays them because if they hit you with the debuff, your pulse rifle gets stronger.
Yeah.
That I still don't know that it's something I'm going to put into my rotation, but that
It's very
sounds
niche.
good. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a niche choice that we'll see people busting out against specific compositions.
Yep. I still don't think it has a place in PvE, honestly.
I-
There's just
yeah.
better options.
Yeah, there's enough things that do what it does but better that I don't know that we'll see it outside of like specific niche runs.
Yeah, I don't think anything does what it does, but I just don't think what it does is good enough to
Well,
warrant
and
using it.
but the whole point is that it's supposed to be build synergy, right? It's void build synergy. And there are
Yeah.
enough things that give good void build synergy that you don't need collective.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still like, because it's a raid exotic, I kind of hold it to a higher standard. Like I compare it against things like Vex and Fourth Horseman and Anarchy, Teraba.
Div.
Yeah. And it's just like they all have a thing that they do sort of independent of having to build around it.
This one
But-
really doesn't.
Well, and I get that it came out
I mean,
with
it
Void
does.
3.0.
Yes, but I don't know.
So yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, armor changes. And I note that Omnioculus is right at the top of the page.
Yep.
In 6.2.0.1, we'll be reducing the effectiveness of damage resistance used by Omnioculus and Whisper of Chains in PvP. No changes in PvE. So that is a heavy nerf in PvP.
It's
Holy
a
crap.
Massive nerf.
That's like 25% across the well, 25, 30%, 30%, and a little over 30%. Jeez.
Huge.
Okay. All right, I'm down. I think that'll be good. I think we'll get a clip of Grenader Jake crying when he reads this later today.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm
Any
honestly
PvP, man.
I don't PvP as much as he does, and I want to cry.
I can't believe Lorenz isn't on this list.
Okay, honestly though, I've been trying to use my Lawrence since I got it the last couple of days. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. I think really good players make it seem worse than it is. Because the flinch on it, honestly, is pretty severe.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
But the issue with the flinch, I don't think it's constant. I don't think it's a constant thing. Like sometimes it flinches and sometimes when you get hit,
yeah, but even
it
then,
flinches you up, but you go right back down.
that's a bug. That's not a nerf. You know what I mean? Like that's not something that they need to retune. It's just it needs to be addressed. If that is the experience, and I don't know if they've got that data, if they think that's actually a problem or what.
Yeah, sure.
So season 18 mid-season or season 19, they want to reduce shotgun spread randomness. Nice. Reduce bow swapping effectiveness. Hallelujah. Increase trace rifle ease of use. Interesting. Introduce the
I mean, that's
full
pretty
auto
easy.
setting. Interesting. Reduce the ability of snipers to shoot through flinch in PvP. Okay. Examining some small targeted balance changes to PvP outliers, pulse rifles without a bound effectiveness, high impact scout rifle ease of use, and precision fusion rifle ease of use. See that right there, that line? I think that's the fix that you're looking for on Lawrence.
Yeah.
Or at least I wouldn't be surprised if there's overlap to Lawrence in that change. Allowing glaive interactions with some exotic armors that buff melees, and now I'm imagining a Ahamkara's buff.
Yeah.
Glaive, which is just going to be stupid.
They've hit detect.
Or Worm God Caress, I should say. Like, if Worm God Caress works with glaives, that's going to be insane. Glaive hit
Yeah.
detection, that I'm excited about. Depending on which direction, like if that means that the hit detection is too good right now
It's
or not
awful
good
right now.
enough. And I think you're right. I think it's most likely improving it, which
It's almost like an RNG when you shoot it at somebody.
well, it's so okay, but on the other hand, glaives are a giant pain in the ass in PvP right now. I don't know that I'm excited about that getting worse.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's a whole thing.
I don't
Reworking some enhanced perks could be interesting, and folding spec mods into the base perks. That one I'm really interested in because
spec mods?
so like minor spec, major spec, boss spec,
Oh,
that kind of thing. So I'm like,
okay.
I'm curious to see what that does because
Imagine ambitious gets minor spec.
it's like imagine or like chain reaction gets minor spec. You know, like
Yeah.
I look at that and I worry that they're pulling out the bottom 3 cards of an entire house. Right?
Yeah.
And my concern is that we see the whole mods thing kind of come crashing down around that. So we'll see what that does. Player support. Destiny 2 patch numbers will be changing for all patches going forward, starting August 23rd. Update 6.2 released for Season 18. Destiny's launch was known as 1.0.0. Taken King was 2.0. Work began on Destiny 2 before Rise of Iron, so to keep all numbers moving forward, Destiny 2's launch was internally known as 3.0. Every big expansion added to the update number since, with Witch Queen internally being known as up to 6.0. To help alleviate internal confusion regarding what the public-facing patch numbers are and bring our internal and external patch numbers into parity, we're making this change for all patch numbers moving forward. So it means we're not getting update 4.2.0, which is where that joke comes from. So,
Yeah.
text chat re-enabled. Woohoo! Make sure to claim all engrams and other rewards before the new season begins. Seems obvious, but that's as an experienced player. Can't sit on your engrams through the following season because they don't want people to do that. And this is all community featured. Artist of the week. Okay, I have to
you saw
click on
that.
this picture. Off that.
Yeah.
That's
The little
great.
fingers.
Right? All right. One more TWAB before the end of the season. So we'll be back for that next week. Any closing thoughts?
I am honestly really excited about I don't play PvP a lot, but I'm excited for the PvP changes. And I'm also very excited for the new intrinsic champion perks
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. I think
to see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think Thunderlord getting Overload is going to be huge for Thunderlord, especially after the machine gun buffs.
Especially since it's Arc next season.
Well, yeah, and that's just it. Malfeasance getting Unstoppable with the detonation, so it's 5 shots to get Unstoppable on a 180 RPM. That, I think, is going to be really good.
We're going to have to farm for a week to get it, but...
Well, I have the quest to go
I have like
do...
3 different sets of that quest in different spots.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I have to redo the Corrupted Strike, I think. Unless I can just progress it on my Titan. But yeah, so everybody that doesn't have Malfeasance is crying a little bit right now. I will join you in that. And yeah, I think it's a good TWAB. So we'll call it there for today. Check in tomorrow for the Xur review that we're going to be doing in the morning if you're interested. And we'll see you in orbit, Guardians. Have a good one.